If you hear purring in this one, that's why. Say hello, Flint. Okay, don't bother. Okay, welcome to Simultaneous Equations Part 2. This time I'm going to make things a little bit harder. Okay, so make sure you're thoroughly okay with the first part before trying these. Right, so what do we got? 6x plus 2y equals negative 3 and 4x minus 3y equals 11. Okay, right, well, last time, if you remember, we were trying to get some coefficients the same. Trying to get this 6 the same as this 4. We're trying to get the 2 is the same as this 3. But this time it's a bit more tricky. Okay, this time you might be thinking, whoa, 4 into 6, no, 2 into 3, my head's going to explode. Okay, the key thing here is we're going to have to do something to both equations. Okay, so really we're looking for the lowest common multiple of 4 and 6, and the lowest common multiple of 2 and 3. So you might be able to spot that, or either of those rather, we can do one or the other. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe it's going to be easiest to multiply this equation by 3 and this equation by 2. Now why am I thinking that? Well, let's have a look at what happens if we try that. Okay, underneath we should have put equation 1 and say equation 2. So underneath, what did we say? We're going to multiply equation 1 by 3. That's going to give me 6 times 3, that's 18. 18x plus 6y equals negative 9 minus 9. Okay, so that's equation 1 multiplied by 3. Equation 2, right, we said we're going to multiply that by 2. So that's going to give me 8x minus 6y, brilliant, equals 22. So that's why we needed to multiply the top one by 3 and the bottom one by 2, so that we could get that 6 the same, that coefficient the same in the y's. Okay, now we remember same sign subtract. Oh, these are not same signs. So here, okay, we're going to need to add these equations together. Okay, so we're going to add both of the equations together. Let's try that. What does that give me? 18x plus 8x. That gives me 26x. 6y and minus 6y is nothing. Equals negative 9 add 22. Negative 9 plus 22. Let's jot that down. Minus 9, negative 9 plus 22. Well, I could write that the other way around. It might make it easier to do. That really just means 22 minus 9. 22 minus 9. Okay, we get 13. Okay, so now, if you're tempted to say that x equals 2, you've made a really common bad mistake. Okay, we need to follow our rules really carefully here. Okay, so I'm looking at this side. I'm thinking, what do I need to divide this side by? I need to divide this side by 26. So if I do that, 26x divided by 26, yeah, that gives me x. So I've got to divide this side by 26. So the correct step in my equation now is x is equal to 13 divided by 26. Okay, it's the same as 13 divided by 26. We can write it either way. Alright, so we've got x equals 13 divided by 26. Well, I could reach for my calculator, or I could spot, we could simplify this fraction. We divide the top and the bottom by 13. We'll get 1 over 2. As soon as I can see that the denominator of that fraction is twice as big as the numerator, that's the same as a half. X is a half. Okay, so really common mistake here would be to say, oh, x is 2. No, you've got to follow your steps. We need to divide both sides by 26. We are not dividing both sides by 13 just because 26 divided by 13 is a nicer calculation to do. So I reckon x is a half. So I think this is the first one we've had where one of our variables is giving us a fractional answer. Don't be scared with that. Follow the steps. Okay, it's all good. We get the right answer. Okay, so we know what to do now. We're going to substitute x in to one of our equations. Doesn't really matter which one. Let's go for 6x plus 2y equals negative 3. So we'll take our x. We think it's a half. We're going to substitute it in. X is a half. So we've got 6 times a half. Got to be careful here. 6 times a half plus 2y equals negative 3. So 6 times a half. Okay, you got to be really confident. 6 times a half, well, just really means that 6 jumps onto the numerator. We get 6 divided by 2. Okay, that 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. We could have thought 6 times a half. That's 6 lots of a half. As I'm always saying, we can replace that 6 times with 6 of. These two are equivalent. So 6 times a half, 6 of a half, 6 lots of a half, or half of 6, doesn't matter. Right, that one, it's probably really straightforward for you. Half of 6. Oh yeah, that's 3. Okay, you could count them up. Half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. Okay, any way you choose, 6 times a half gives us 3. Okay, right, we've got 3 plus 2y equals negative 3. Okay, right, what do we do now? Well, I didn't really like the look of that 3 there, so let's subtract 3 from both sides. Take away 3, take away 3. Right, got to be really careful. 3, take away 3, yeah, that's nothing, that goes. 2y still left on the left, because the number's not going to affect those numbers of y's. But here's where we've got to be really careful. We're going to do negative 3 and subtract 3. Minus 3 minus 3. Okay, that's going to give me negative 6. Okay, so again, if you're not sure, number line 0. We've already got negative 3. Negative 3 is down here. And then we've got to stick another negative 3. It's going to take me down to negative 6. So we've got 2y equals negative 6. Okay, what do we want to do? Let's clear some mess. We want to divide by 2. Because if we divide both sides by 2, 2y divided by 2 just gives me y. Negative 6 divided by 2 minus 6 divided by 2 is minus 3. So I reckon our answer for y is negative 3, minus 3. So I think the solutions to our equation are a half for x and y equals negative 3. Okay, so just like in the last video, right, this time you go back. Okay, check through. Right, are my answers correct? You're going to need to substitute x is a half and y is negative 3 into both of those equations, and you should find, okay, that the first equation, when you substitute those in, gives you negative 3, and the second equation you should get 11. Okay, verify that for me, and then play on. Okay, did it work? It should have worked. Okay, if it didn't work for you, I wonder whether it was this equation. Let's just have a run through. 4x, well we know x is a half, so 4 times a half is what we're substituting in. Minus 3y, minus 3 times, y is negative 3. Now here we've got to be really, really careful. We've got 4 times a half, that's 2. We've got minus 3 times negative 3. Well, when we multiply those two negatives, remember that a minus times a minus is going to give us a plus. So that negative 3 times negative 3 is going to give us plus 9, which does indeed give us 11. Okay, so if you didn't quite get that one, it could well have been because of your multiplying negative rules. Just check that back through. Okay. Okay, second pair of simultaneous equations. 3x minus 2y equals 12, 4y plus x minus 2 equals 9. Ugh. Oh dear. Right, now this time I'm hoping you've spotted a problem. Every time we've done these so far, okay, we've had x's lined up and y's lined up. But this time, everything's muddled. And we've also got a negative 2 on this side and a number on that side. Don't like the look of that. I think we need to do a bit of work before we can start. We need to get things into the same sort of format that we're used to. Okay, so we need to jiggle that second equation round. Let's call that equation 2. Let's call that equation 1. Okay, so number 2, right, well for a start we could just write these the other way. That would be good. We could put x plus 4y. Okay, that's better, because now our x lines up with the 3x above, and our y lines up with the minus 2y above. And I don't like the look of the fact that we've got numbers on both sides, so let's add 2 to both sides of that equation. That's going to give me the equals 11 equation that I need. X plus 4y equals 11. So we just swapped the 4y and the x around, and then we've added 2 to both sides to give us just one number on the right of the equal sign, and that's the 11. Okay, so this came from equation 2. We've just rearranged it slightly. Okay, and now, just for clarity, let's write 3x minus 2y equals 12 out again, just so we don't get muddled up. That was equation 1. Okay, so now we can follow the steps from before. Now, what could we do to get some coefficients the same? Well, if you're saying, aha, we could multiply the top equation by 3, great thinking. That's equation 2 multiplied by 3, that will give us 3x. If you're saying, well, no, you could multiply equation 1, the bottom equation, by 2, that'll give you a negative 4y. Either of those are good. Okay, so what should we do? Let's times top equation by 3. Ooh, let's go for a different one. Let's times the top equation by 3. Okay, so underneath, let's write the number 2 rewritten. That's going to give me 3x. Ooh, like it. It's going to give me plus 12y. And it's going to give me 33. Right, so this time it's the x's that the coefficients are the same. And they're both the same sign. Same sign, subtract. Alright, so we know we've got some subtracting to do. Okay, which way shall I do it? Doesn't matter either way. I think it might be more straightforward to do equation 2, take away equation 1. So equation 1 from equation 2, but either way will be good. Okay, let's do equation 2, take away equation 1. 3x, take away 3x. Nothing! 12y, I've got to be careful. We've got 12y, take away, because we're subtracting equations, but we've got negative 2y. If you're screaming at me, whoa, double negative, turns to a positive, then well spotted. So 12y, take away a negative 2y, is going to give me 12y plus 2y. This gives me 14y. Okay. 33, take away 12, that gives me 21. Alright, 14, 21, we're going to get fractions. Okay, what do we do? Right, I think we need to divide both sides by 14. 14y divided by 14, that gives me y. Okay, 21 divided by 14 is what we need to do on the right, is 21 divided by 14. Okay, can we simplify that? Well, we could divide the top and the bottom by 7. It's going to give me 3 over 2. So we've got an improper fraction here. Okay, again, we could have reached for the calculator, but there's no need, don't panic. Right, 3 over 2, what's that? Well, I reckon that must be the same as 1.5. Okay, 2 over 2 is the same as 1. Okay, we can take one whole one out, and then we've got 1/2 left over, it's 1.5. Right, so I think the y is 1.5, or 1.5, or 3 over 2. All are good. Okay, so usual trick, let's substitute in. Which equation shall we go for? Doesn't matter. Let's go for our 3x minus 2y equals 12. So we'll substitute in our y value. It's our y value we know this time. So it's the y value we're going to put into our equation. So we've got 3x, take away 2 times 1.5 is equal to 12. So 3x, take away 2 times 1.5, I think that must be 3, is equal to 12. So what should we do here? Right, I've got 3x minus 3. I think I need to add 3 to both sides of my equation. Okay, so 3x, when I have the negative 3 and then I add 3 to it, that gives me 0, that's what we want, that 3's gone, and we can get 15 on this side. I've just realised I've got 15 seconds of recording time left. We need to divide by 3. That'll give me x equals 5. Check the substitution, make sure it works. My time's running out. Bye! It works.